Hello, this is Lori Kramer from the Crafting Auntie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a project share on this lap book that I just recently finished. And I got the inspiration from Junk Journal Addicts here on YouTube. She's also Junk Journal Treasure on Instagram and on Facebook. She does have a group called Junk Journal Treasure. And I was inspired by her, so I followed her as far as the construction of the base of the lap book, and then I kind of went off. Some things I did the same as her and some things I did a little different. So let me share it with you. So this is made out of a file folder, the construction of the base of it, and I have just tied it with a piece of sari silk that went with the color collage here that I got going on. On the back, I've used a lot of Tim Holtz paper. I've done a lot of stenciling on some of the areas just to give it more character. And on the spine here, to reinforce it, I did use some Tyvek, and then I covered it with some mulberry paper. So I did that inside and out, so you can see that it's got a pretty good covering, and it's actually very, very sturdy. So let's open it up. So following her construction, we have this first little flap here, and I decided that I wanted to make a little, like a notepad here. And so I used a couple of eyelets, and I created this little notepad, and then I didn't like it moving around a lot, so I created this little band around it to keep the papers in place, but they can be removed out at any time and then tucked back in. I did use a lot of Tim Holtz rub-ons, so you can see some of those. And I did use a Tim Holtz frame for this. It's a chipboard frame. This is also one of his, I can't remember what they're actually called, but they're the larger ones, like a paper doll. And I did use his frosted embossing powder on this, so you can't really see it, but it does kind of give it a different look about it and a feel about it. If you ever have used that, you'll see a difference in kind of what she calls it on Junk Journal Addict is dreamy. I added some of the texture paste, did some coloring with it with the Distress inks from Tim Holtz, and added a piece of trim down here underneath her. And then I just covered the back and did some splattering. She also created this little envelope booklet, and I decided that I wanted it tied in. So before I did work on the inside, I went ahead and tied this in. But this is a little booklet that I've tied with just some twine, and it's made from 2 envelopes. Now, I think she used envelopes that were already made. I went ahead and used some from some digital paper, and then I created my own from the envelope punch board. Put a couple of eyelets here so that I could tie this closed. And then here I have used a lot of digital papers from various places that I have purchased. And I wanted to have a vintage feel, and so I just continued kind of in that theme. More of the Tim Holtz rub-ons. I really enjoyed using those. And here on the front of the envelope, I did some collaging with a lot of Tim Holtz ideology snippets and also paper dolls. So I really enjoyed doing that as well. I did add splatters to a lot of it because I just like the character of it. So here again is some collaging. Here is just one of the Tim Holtz word cards, I think is what they are. And I used some embossing glaze on it. I stitched on it. I stitched it to some of his fabric snippets that he has, and then I put some burlap underneath it and stuck this all down all together. Here's a little historical that I cut out from a digital. I used one of his photos from one of his ephemera collections. one of his, it's like different dials that he has a package of. They're round different dials of meters and stuff, so I put one of those there. Another one of his paper dolls. So that's the front part. Then you open it up, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do in here, but sometime back I had created this. It's a Gatefold folder, and I had designed this some time back for a different use, and I thought, well, I would go ahead and do the same thing, but I would just make it a little different on the inside. So this is just some faux leather that came from Dollar Tree. This is one of Tim Holtz buckles. And then I created this gatefold. Originally, when I created this gatefold, it was with some inside flaps, and I decided I did not want to do that, so I made the creation a little different, added some paper to it, a couple of eyelets, tied it with some twine, and then I just made some pockets here on the side with a couple of tags that I had also made from digital paper. Added some collaging to it, added the paper dolls, did some splattering to it just to give it some character. And those tuck here into the pockets. And then you've got a whole bunch of paper to journal on. And then underneath here you can see I just pretty much left this alone. I did do a lot of stitching on this lap book in various areas. And if you watch Junk Journal Addict's video on this, you'll see she does a lot of stitching. She probably does more than what I had done on here, but I did try to do a bunch of stitching on it using my sewing machine. So around a lot of these areas here and up here, the pockets, I did try to do a lot of different stitching on that. I do like the look of that. So we'll close this back up. Very simple, just a few holes punched into the faux leather. I did stitch this. I made about an inch wide strip, long enough that would come underneath and around at the front of this, and then I stitched around it and then added it to with the Tim Holtz buckle. I did some collaging on the front here as well, and also added some lace that I put on as the flaps come together here on the gatefold. And then following her, I did enjoy her pages that she made. So it's like a journal inside here as well. I liked the way she had torn the paper and created these outside edges of the paper. So I did the same thing. And basically all it is hand tearing the paper, layering it on here. I did put some glue on here. I went back in and I stitched it. Then I added some lace and I stitched that on as well. And this is some bubble dyed paper that I get from my sister that she does for me. And she's Nana's Crafting Cottage. And so I really like the look of it. So I made a few more pages than what's in here, but it found to be too bulky. So I just did 4 pages. And so total you get 8. And that's actually quite a bit. I made sure I distressed on both sides, and I just picked out vintage paper that I thought would look nice with this. It kind of, the way the distressing is on this, it really kind of looks like it's got burnt edges, and I love that. So there's 2 sets of 2 papers that I have sewn in, and I have sewn them in with some embroidery floss, and you can see on the outside here. And if you don't like that look, you can always cover it up, but I thought it came out pretty nice. And it's got stitching on here as well, so I thought it really went together well. Then on this side, again, following her construction, I had made this little coin. Actually, this is a coin envelope that I had that I just covered. And then I did a couple of these for the closure. So these can be opened up. You can tuck something in here. I put them on with brads as well, and I believe these are the Tim Holtz brads that I had some. Did some collaging on the front, some splattering. This is again from some digital paper, and on the back here I just used a rub-on that came from 49 and Market. It just has this writing on it, and I really like that, so I just put that on. And then here, this is just a little folder that is made from parts of the file folder that was left over. And I made this into a pocket, basically following what Junk Journal Addict did. And then I just collaged over it. And then I added some digital paper to this. And on the inside, I added a couple of pockets. I did do some rub-ons, again, from 49 and Market. And this is some Tim Holtz paper. And then I made these 2 tags to go inside. And again, this is from digital paper. And then I did the collaging on there and added the paper dolls. Added some, this is like an old tablecloth that I was given by my sister, so I just tore some pieces and stapled them on with the staples and tucked those into these pockets. And you can actually cover these if you want to in something else, if you want to journal on the back of them. But I figured with what I had in the front and what I had here that I didn't want to have more journaling spots there. And also on the back of this, then I went ahead and did some collaging, more digitals, more Tim Holtz, more paper dolls. This is another one of his that I put on a piece of fabric that is upholstery fabric, and then I just stitched around it and added that. And then on her construction as well, she had this really cool idea of making these tags that are attached. So they also, so you get 2 tags, and then you get this piece on the end, and I followed her as far as making another little note area where you can journal in. And this is all stitched on at the top. So these are also decorated as well with a lot of Tim Holtz and a lot of paper dolls. And I just love the way it comes together. This is Tim Holtz paper, and the digitals and the Tim Holtz paper and the ephemera, it's just very cohesive. And so I really enjoyed doing this project. Now on the back of these tags, I also wanted to do something, so I added some pockets to the back of the tags. And then I had just some ephemera pieces, one that is very special. So this was something that was actually out of my grandmother's Bible, and she kept this in her Bible, and so I thought I would put it in here. And it's just a little poem. So I added that in this pocket. And then from Creative Studio, I had gotten some of these I guess you could collage with them if you wanted to, but this was such a cute little story. I think it's like I like a poem as well, and I thought, well, I'm just going to tuck this in here too. Just a little sweet memory thing going in there on both of these. And then, of course, here is the paper pad that is attached to the other part of this section, and this is all just glued into the book. And then I covered over it with some more digital paper. And you can see also here the mulberry paper that I used for the spine. And I just used that with the matte gel medium. And I put that on with that. And then here I did another collaging spot, again with more Tim Holtz paper dolls, also his snippets. This paper here is also from my sister, Nana's Crafting Cottage. She makes that for me. And she just has a ball making the bubble paper that we learned from 49 Dragonflies. So she likes doing it, making it, and sending it to me. So I appreciate it very much. So here is the tags, and they just come back over. The paper is nice and secure underneath. It's not flopping around. And then the back of the folder as well. All the collaging and the Tim Holtz, and then these just tuck in here nicely, and then this coin envelope just tucks right in here. Close it up, and on the back I showed you previously, but you could see where I just added paper, did some more stenciling. Here's more of the Tim Holtz rub-ons. I enjoy making those, I enjoy using those, and I think they're a lot of fun. This then tucks in underneath this, so it holds it in place. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to tie it closed. I initially had thought about possibly making the same as this here, but after I played with it and I made a piece, it wasn't what I wanted. So I decided just to use some sari silk and just tie it up that way, and then that way I can untie it, use it, and tie it back up. And if it grows any, if I add other things inside, then I will be able to still tie it up and close it up. So I wanted to come out here and do this project share. I'm probably going to be doing more project shares on my channel for now. Eventually I will probably do some other style videos, maybe some tutorials, but for now I'm just going to do some project shares. I'm enjoying the time of just creating these projects, and I'm loving this area here. I just got to say, I just love the way it peeks out. So I hope you enjoy this video, and maybe you will give it a shot, and I will see you all next time. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much. Bye.